This is Super Yacht News. In association with Go Earth Boating, navigating boat buyers to better deals. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So we got some news on a yacht that sank off the coast of Formentera in Spain. Motor yacht Vinci sank following a massive fire. The search and rescue centre in Palma released a video showing a fire on board the 30-metre or 95-foot luxury yacht at sea. The yacht was about 7 nautical miles from Formentera in the Balearic Islands when the fire started. Now, according to Search and Rescue, who responded to the Mayday call, they rescued all 7 crew. I believe they were all crew and there were no guests on board. The fire had spread so rapidly that by the time Search and Rescue got there and firefighters got there, there was nothing they could do for this vessel. No word on the cause of that fire, but luckily there were no reported injuries. Now, we reported earlier this week that there was a Turkish yacht designer and he was the founder of Mazu Yachts had gone missing. He was heading to the Greek island of Mykonos from Turkey. There's been a little bit of an update. There's been no update since the 10th of August, actually, but there's a notification on there's a statement on the Mazu Yachts website. It says Mazu Yachts confirms ongoing search for founder and designer Halit Yukay following a maritime accident. Mazu Yachts regrets to confirm that on the 4th of August, one of our vessels was involved in a collision with a cargo ship off the coast of Marmara Island. Our founder and designer Halit Yukay was on board at the time of the incident and has not yet been located. So, they've confirmed that it was his vessel and he's still missing. I doubt very much that the search and rescue are still looking at this point. This was the 10th of August, this statement was released. They were still searching at the time. I cannot imagine they'll be likely to find him alive now. Certainly as the life raft that was on board was found by some of the first responders or the first people to see the vessels, the remains of the vessel, should I say. It was completely destroyed. So it's unlikely that he survived in the water all that time. There were some comments, people saying, how could you not miss a cargo ship, etc., etc. There are many, many scenarios where a vessel can not be able to avoid. There could have been mechanical issues with that boat. It's only a 12-metre boat. The cargo vessel, their radar might not have even picked up a vessel that small, depending on what it's made of. Some small vessels, especially when they're made out of wood or fiberglass, they need to have a radar reflector to be able to reflect the radar signal from those cargo vessels. There could have been very low fog. There could have been an issue with the yacht and he was working on the engine, adrift in the water, working on his engine, not looking ahead, and the cargo ship comes along, doesn't see the radar signal and hits that's just one scenario that I came up with right now. But, people should not assume that there's one guy on board this vessel, one guy on board this vessel, it's clear, it's daytime, and there's no restrictions and they just managed to crash into each other. That's very unlikely that is the actual what happened, right? All right, we'll move on to our main story, really. Investigation's been launched into the death of a 21-year-old who was found dead on board a yacht docked in Marina di Portisco, which is in Olbia in Sardinia. The investigation into the death of Giovanni Marciani, just 21 years old, his body was found on the 8th of August on board a yacht, and they said they're focusing on the legality of his employment status. Now, from what we understand, he worked in a marina or in a shipyard, and he went there to spend some time there. Now, some reports have said that he was a friend of the owner. Some reports have said that he went there to work on board, but there was no legal employment contract. If he worked in a shipyard and he went there, this is just my opinion here. It could be that there was a problem with the yacht, and they asked him, because of his expertise, to go there and investigate what that problem was, right? Anyway, that's the other occupants of the yacht went ashore one night and they asked him if he wanted to go, and he opted to stay on board. And the next morning they found him in his cabin. His body was lifeless and he was deceased. And the initial investigation suggests that the cause of death might have been fumes leaking from a chemical toilet or the hull's batteries. Investigators met with the family of the man from Bacoli in the municipality near Naples, and as they arrived in Sardinia, and they've appointed lawyers to represent them. Giovanni Marciani was a shipyard worker from Licola, which is near Naples, and he'd boarded the yacht that arrived in the marina and spent a few weeks there with the owner's family. Now, the investigators ordered an autopsy because there was no obvious signs of why he died. However, the autopsy, which was performed on the 13th of August at the Institute of Forensic Medicine in Sassari, which was ordered by the prosecutor, did not find a cause of death. But they say he apparently died of cardiac arrest. But they don't know what caused that cardiac arrest. 21-year-old man. It's not been determined whether the cause was inhalation of fumes, as initially suspected. Now, they've ordered an immunohistochemical investigation, which will be necessary to detect any possibility of any fumes in his body that caused the asphyxia, which would have caused asphyxia by noxious gases. All right, we'll move on. When we were doing the Amadea videos, we were investigating the 3D tours, and we were contacted by someone who sent us a link to another yacht. He said there was a 3D tour of a vessel that I'd actually mentioned in that story, Apo, and that we could use it if we wanted to. But interestingly, on the page that he sent us, there was a for sale sign for this yacht. Apo's been sold, right? It was bought by Patrick Vinci, the former NHL goalie. But anyway, this webpage still had the details on from when it was for sale, and I like me, you might have spotted this, and you might have thought the same as I did. It says on there, based on 20% down and payments of €1,795 a month for 20 years. And I thought, how could that possibly be? The yacht was for sale for 340 million. And then I realized there's actually 1.795 million euros a month for 20 years, with a 20% deposit, which is $68 million based on $340 million. So yeah, I just thought that was quite funny that he said you could own it now. It's almost like he was buying a used pickup truck, right? But yeah, that's quite interesting. If people are interested, which I'm not sure, still the jury's out on that because there's not been that many views of these videos of Amadea, the 3D tour. We may do a 3D tour of Apo in the coming weeks, but let us know in the comments. But yeah, if you haven't seen those videos, I know they're quite long, but they are very interesting once you start watching them. Well, based on the comments, people say it's very interesting. It's not just a tour of the vessel, it's a tour with a commentary from me, who's worked in the industry for 25 years. And I will explain all of the nooks and crannies, and the access is unprecedented. So yeah, check them out. I'll put the links in the description, and you can go and check those out. There's two. There's basically a guest tour, and then there's a crew and technical tour. So anyway, before we go on to Friday Yacht Spot, I just got one announcement to make, actually. We have now launched YouTube members. Or what is YouTube members? Like you'll know by now, I often go on about joining us on Patreon. Patreon members, we have almost 200 Patreon members now. But we do get a lot of comments saying, why don't you have YouTube members, which is effectively YouTube's version of Patreon. And for a while we thought, well, we don't want to have two. It might be confusing. But anyway, we've had enough interest in the YouTube members that we've decided to launch it. Now, it's not like sign up for Patreon and sign up for YouTube members. It's either or. Some people prefer to stay on YouTube. Some people don't like to pay YouTube. They want to use Patreon. But if you want to become a member of the channel, support the channel, and get all the extra content that we make, I wanted to show you this monument here, which is a monument that was erected after the sinking of the Titanic. You can join up on Patreon, or you can join up on YouTube. That's now your choice. The good thing about YouTube is you'll see the new videos posted in the feed. They'll just only be accessible by the people who are actually members. So yeah, now you can join up for members. There's links in the description. It's still all new to me, so I have people setting it up. But yeah, there's links in the description. If you go to the homepage of the channel, you'll find it there also. All right, we'll move on to Friday Yacht Spot. I've got some crackers for you this week again. The first one on the list is Yacht Moonrise and her support vessel, because, you know, you got to have a support vessel, right? This is Jan Koom's yacht Moonrise, 100 meters, a 328-foot yacht built by Fedship in 2020. Well, should I say it's one of his vessels called Moonrise, because he now has two. The new Moonrise has just been delivered in 2025. So this is the old one, This is 100 meters still. The new one is 101 meters. So, you know, this is why we always say measure by volume, because the old one is like 2,500 gross tons. The new one's over 4,000 gross tons. So even though they're effectively the same length, one of them is almost twice as large inside. Now, the more interesting of the two yachts, in my opinion, is the support vessel. This is a $40 million support vessel called Nebula. Itself a 68-meter yacht, which is 220 feet, built by Asterios Armon, which is a Spanish company, which I always struggle to pronounce for some reason. And they built Yacht Hodor, if you know that vessel, catamaran, named after the big guy from Game of Thrones, which I never watched. The sport vessel, like I said, catamaran design, and it has a helicopter hangar, and it has rooms for many, many vessels and toys and scubas and all, you know, you name it. It's got it on this boat. All right, we'll move on now. We've got some footage here. This is the actual Amel/Damen or Damen shipyard in Vlissingen in the Netherlands, and the yacht on the right there is a brand new yacht, which is, I think, it's just been ready to be delivered. Amel's Damen build 8001. It's just been delivered, and it's called Yacht Pangaea. I think that's how you pronounce it. It was previously build 8001, of course. It's an 80-meter yacht, 262 feet, and it's the first of its type from the company, and it's got a 5,000 nautical mile range. Now, the other yacht on the left is Yacht Gnome. It's a 74-meter, 240-foot yacht, also brand new build, 2025 build. Now, it's unsurprising that these are both brand new, right? Because it's right outside the shed. There's a third yacht in the middle, doesn't have a mast on it yet. I'm not sure the name of that vessel. It might not have even been released yet. So we'll move on. We've got next one on the list, another massive yacht, Yacht Golden Odyssey. We featured this at the Monaco Grand Prix, I think it was last year. 123 meters, 403 foot behemoth, worth an estimated, well, it was sold for $150 million a couple of years ago. We covered that on the channel. It was seized for non-payments. It was laid up in Malta for a long time, previously owned by a Saudi prince who got cut off from his money, and the yacht was sold. It's now owned by a Chinese billionaire. Next on the list, we've got Yacht Leviathan, formerly Y722. This is Ocean Co's new super yacht, built originally for an unnamed Russian owner, but sold because of sanctions, and purchased whilst still under construction by Gabe Newell. The yacht has not been delivered, but is in the final stages, and I think it's either just about to go or it's just been on sea trials. I'll be delivered just after that. Now, this comes just after the announcement that Gabe Newell actually likes those yachts so much that he bought the company.
So impressed, I bought the company.
That's a massive yacht there. And then last on the list, before we go here, we've got some stills of Yacht Blue and Yacht Flying Fox. We mentioned these previously. I'm not going to go into them again, but Blue is 160 meters, one of the largest yachts in the world, 524 feet, can carry 48 guests in 24 cabins, which is effectively makes it a passenger vessel, not a yacht, and it has a crew of 80 and a gross tonnage of almost 15,000 gross tons. And then next to it is Yacht Flying Fox, formerly Russian owned, formerly Imperial Yachts, formerly sanctioned. All of those things are not the case, and it is also owned by the same Saudi prince, not Saudi prince, United Arab Emirates. So anyway, guys, that's it. So like I said, join us on Patreon or join us as a member. I'll have to change how I say that now. It's almost automatic in my head now, the way I've said it so many times. But if you want to become a member, check the description. You can join us on Patreon. You can join us on YouTube members. I look forward to seeing you there. All of the videos that get posted to Patreon will now get posted to the members. So whichever one you choose to be on, you'll get the same content. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.